Welcome to Conflict News 24. We share daily updates on global conflicts, especially Russia Ukraine war. Firstly, on Wednesday, Ukraine celebrated Independence Day. International community showed solidarity with Ukraine today. Leaders from Europe, Joe Biden as well, sent messages of solidarity to Ukrainian government, Ukrainian people. Boris Johnson, UK Prime Minister, arrived in Kiev, Ukrainian capital today on Ukraine's Independence Day, and Ukraine announced UK announced military assistance for Ukraine today, while Boris Johnson was in Kiev. Secondly, America today announced 3 billion US dollar worth security assistance for Ukraine government. And thirdly, Sergei Shoigu, Russian defense minister, spoke today. He tried to justify the slow pace of Russian offensive. We know that the Russians are making gains, but the pace is slow. He tried to justify this slow pace. What did he say? And lastly, a few details on a map for you about the battlefield situation. Firstly, viewers, Wednesday was Ukraine's Independence Day, 24th of August. And on Tuesday, Ukraine celebrated its National Flag Day. It was being said that on these 2 days, Russia could intensify its attacks on targets in Ukraine. But we have not seen any increase in Russian missile strikes on main Ukrainian cities. Rather, we saw a decrease in Russian missile rocket strikes on Tuesday and Wednesday. International community, especially Europe, America, showed solidarity with Ukrainian people on Ukraine's Independence Day. Wednesday, Portuguese Foreign Minister and UK's Prime Minister Boris Johnson arrived in Kiev, Ukrainian capital, to show solidarity with Ukraine. And Boris Johnson, outgoing British Prime Minister, announced 63.8 US dollars worth security assistance for Ukraine. This assistance will be used to buy loitering munitions, suicide drones, and anti-tank weapons will be bought by Ukrainian government. Secondly, US also announced military assistance for Ukraine today. 2.98 billion US dollars worth security assistance was announced by US for Ukraine. And this amount will be spent on buying air defense systems, artillery systems, munitions, radars, and anti-drone systems. So, military assistance for Ukraine from the EU, from Europe and US is continuing. And partly it's due to this military assistance that Ukraine is holding its ground, because supplies are in abundance for Ukraine. Question is, how long will these supplies continue? Can Europe, can US continue supporting Ukraine militarily? That's a very important question. Thirdly, Sergei Shoigu, Russian defense minister, spoke today. He once again reiterated Russian position that Russia wanted Ukraine to be a neutral state, but US and NATO allies tried to expand NATO towards Russian borders. They wanted to strike alliance with Ukraine. That is why Russia had to launch this operation. against Ukraine, and he justified slow pace of Russian advance in Ukraine. The pace is slow, definitely. We discuss on daily basis that though Russians are advancing, but the pace is extremely slow. They have to fight weeks for the control of small towns. Uh, Look what is happening in Bakhmut, in Soledar. For the last 2 to 3 weeks, Russians have been fighting in the outskirts of Bakhmut and Soledar. And still, they have not been able to fully control Bakhmut and Soledar. Same is the case with the outskirts of Donetsk. Shoigu today tried to justify the slow pace of Russian advance. He said that the operation could take longer because Russians wanted to protect civilians. He accused Ukrainian military that Ukrainian forces were using civilians as shields, human shields, and civil infrastructure was being used as places for launching strikes, attacks on Russian territories. Take a listen to what he said.
In this new environment, the West and Washington refused to take into consideration our concern regarding collective security, primarily regarding Ukraine's neutrality and neutral status. They ignored the question of stopping NATO's eastward expansion or stopping its activity close to the Russian border. And they've chosen Ukraine to engage in this confrontation with Russia. Kyiv posed a real threat to the people in Donbass, as well as to the Russian Federation. And this is why we understood that we have to launch a special military operation in Ukraine. As part of this special military operation, we act in strictly keeping with the international humanitarian law. We target only military infrastructure, warehouses, fortified areas, and the defense industry. And we're doing everything to avoid civilian casualty. Of course, this makes the special operation longer, but this is an intentional choice. There is also a system-wide effort to bring life back to normal.
Let's have a look at battlefield situation. Firstly, Kharkiv Oblast, Kharkiv city. We know that under Ukrainian control, Russians tried to enter Kharkiv city in February, but they entered the outskirts of the city. There was fighting in the city, but then they retreated, and then they focused on eastern Ukraine. So Ukrainians are in control of Kharkiv. Shelling is ongoing here in these areas from Russian territories from here. And in the last 24 hours, Russians once again tried to move from Izium in southern and western directions. They have been trying to improve their position to the south and to the west of Izium. You can see Novo Dmitrivka here. And reportedly, Russian forces, they tried to move from Izium in western and southern directions towards Novo Dmitrivka, but they could not make any major gains. Russians have not launched any major offensive in Kharkiv so far. They're not trying to take control of Kharkiv city. Yes, they conduct shelling near Kharkiv city, on Kharkiv city. We see airstrikes as well to the east, to the west and south of Izium. Some movement of Russian military has been seen, ground offensives, but Not a major offensive to take Kharkiv city has been launched by Russians in recent weeks. Secondly, Donetsk viewers. Donetsk city close to which fighting ongoing. Ukraine today once again claimed that Russians could not succeed in establishing control over Pisky and Novalsky. You can see Novalsky here. This is Novalsky. This is Novalsky and this is Pisky. The Russians have been claiming for days that they are in control of Pisky. But Ukraine is rejecting this claim of Russian military. Marinka, which Russians claimed yesterday that it was that large parts of Marinka were under Russian control, is still contested. Russians have been trying to move to the south of Marinka. Pobjida can be seen here, and Novo Makhalevka can be seen here. Reportedly, Russians are trying to move towards these two places, Novomakhlevka and Pobjida. It means that they are consolidating their positions in Marinka and they want to cut off all supplies to Ukrainian forces in and near Marinka by launching offensives to the south and to the north of Marinka. After this front, we have Bakhmut, where fighting going on for days. Bakhmut, Soledar, situation is almost the same. No considerable change in the last 24 hours. Kodyma as well. The Russians managed to reach Kodyma, but fighting ongoing here. Russians not in full control of Kodyma. Russians have managed to reach Kodyma and here as well. They are reportedly attacking Kudyumivka across this road which links Horlivka with Bakhmut. But overall, situation volatile here. So we can sum up here that the Russians are advancing, especially to the west of Donetsk and on Horlivka Bakhmut front. But the pace of their advance is very slow. If Russians want to keep Ukraine under pressure by launching these slow-paced offensive, their strategy is working. But if they want to reach Kiev, then they'll have to review their strategy. If they're facing so much resistance near Soledar and Bakhmut, imagine what would happen near Dnipro, near Zaporizhia and other major cities of Ukraine. So they are facing stiff resistance, but gradually, slowly, they are advancing. Thank you for watching.